Welcome back to Betton's Life to Fame. We're going to go over how I start with halter breaking and catching a yearling or a baby in general. Betton's really good at this, so I'm going to do the best I can at explaining things. So to start off, when they are eating, I typically try to be around them, be present, at least to start off with, depending on the horse. And then I move to feeding them with a bucket in my lap, being around them, being around their face, things like that. So Benton obviously doesn't really care at this point what I am doing. There's some things he's a bit touchy about, but overall he's not super skittish or takes off running or feels like he needs to turn around and kick me. So I just try to be present, start loving on them, rubbing and pestering them a little bit, getting them used to me being all over every part of their body, is how I start. I would rather a horse enjoy me being around them before I start actually haltering them. If I have that opportunity, of course, sometimes with client horses, there's a time crunch, so I don't always get that pleasure. But with Benton, I do. So we're going to take it slow and do it right. Right here, like you can see, I'm trying to pet his legs, and he doesn't really care about it, but he's not freaking out about it. So I just do whatever I can around, and I just rub him everywhere. I take my time. I don't overdo it. So I try to just touch him in a place that he's sensitive to, and then retreat, just keep doing that. Just like this, kissing him on the forehead. Now I can get in his face, I can hold his face, smooch all over his face, but he is very picky when eating. When he is eating, he loves his food, and he doesn't really like to be messed with, so I don't do it a whole lot. I like to respect his space, but I do, in other aspects, start rubbing all over them. The neck, the shoulder, the belly, the back, the butt, stifles, legs, everywhere is where I start out before I start actually trying to catch them. Just get them to enjoy me being around them. So now that he's done eating, we are going to work on, really I was trying to demonstrate like what it's like to catch him, but right now he's like typically in the stalls behind him is where they eat. So he's like, I want more food, and is looking for behind the stalls. But how I'm teaching Benton is my cue is come. So I want him to come to me. So I say, Benton, come. And that's his cue for him to come towards me. He doesn't really respond to it yet. But right here, I'm trying to engage with him and trying to get him to realize that being with me is better than expecting food out of a stall that's not there. So I went and grabbed a hard bristle brush, because typically I find that foals are more itchier than they do wanting food. Benton doesn't really like to take food, so you can see he acknowledged me right there, but he's still wanting some food and is very food motivated as he seems. He's really not when it comes to humans. So I just make my way over to him. If he were to run away, then I wouldn't chase him, but I would follow him, and then every time he looked at me, I would retreat and move back. So just like this, I am moving back and walking away from him, and he's kind of following somewhat in my direction. There, he's fully attached to me and comes to me. So I don't really overdo it. I just let him do his thing. If he wants to stop and be with me, great. If he doesn't, then I assess that and I try to make it more pleasurable for him to be around me. So he's kind of taking a sec. So I go over there, and he's still looking for food, but I start brushing him, start looking for places that he's really itchy, that he wants rubbed, and I try to use that to my advantage. So once I can get over to him, then I try to do my best I can about getting him to connect and want to be beside me. So I figured under his ear was a good place that he really liked with a hard bristle brush. And it was raining that day, so I figured brushing him out would be a great idea too. So horses that don't want you anywhere near them, I try to just make it more enjoyable. Like I said, feeding, starting with the feeding, things like that. So now I'm walking away, trying to get him to follow me. So he starts to walk off and again looking for food in the stalls. So trying to create that relationship between, hey, I'm more enjoyable than looking for food. So I go back to him, and if he's walking away, I continue to follow him. And anytime I catch his eye and he looks at me, then I stop. With a typical horse, he is already attached to me and will follow me. So just like that, I say bet and come, and he comes up, and I reward him by scratching him in his favorite place or in one of his favorite places. And so I walk off again, and I say bet and come. And it takes him a second. He's not quite really caught on to it, but consistency is key. So then when he comes to me, I reward him again by scratching him in the places that he likes. And he tells me he likes it by shouldering me. So he likes to beat up on me lately. And then I try to walk away again. And when we get too far from the stall, he's like, The funny thing is the stall he is standing out is the stall he eats at. So he's super smart. He absolutely is very smart, and I love it. So then once I finally get him to come back to me, and he realizes he's not getting food, then I again reward him by scratching his favorite places, and he lets me know that his butt needs to be scratched as well. So that is dangerous, so I don't actually tell people, just start scratching their butt. But obviously it wasn't like I went behind him. He literally just put his butt to me. In some cases with some foals, if they were to swing their butt at me like that, I would definitely shoo them away and let them know that their butt pointing towards me is a bad thing. But Benton has only kicked me once, and I wasn't near his butt. I was to his side. So, I didn't feel that was any danger. He obviously just wanted me to scratch it. So I continued to brush him really well all over his body, finding those nice little itchy spots, like that. And then continued all over his body, just really brushing him out really good, and enjoying the time being with him is the best thing that I could do right now, is just showing him that he is my little man and that I love him dearly. So just spending like quality time like this is really the best. I'd like to do this and be able to connect just like this, where he's rubbing all over me, wanting me to scratch his butt, things like that. So, and he's backing up into me. So having this relationship is something I really like before I force a halter on their face or anything like that. Of course, haltering is something that is a necessity. In most cases, you have to halter them in stressful situations. But in his case, I take my time on putting a halter on. And while he does halter pretty well right now, then I really I like to take my time, and I try to teach him techniques like putting his face in the halter and associating it with good things. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. But right now, I'm working on getting him to follow me and stick with me instead of walking away. And so he's done pretty good job. I'm super pleased and surprised with him. So getting a horse to follow you is all about just getting them to associate you with things they love and good things. So he quickly realized that in his stall there was no food. I wasn't going to open it. But once he realized that I could absolutely start scratching his itchy places, then he was all for that and did not care about the stall anymore. And so I just continued to brush him all over his sweet little body. And just scratch him all over the place. And then I say, bet and come. And he does respond, but he just didn't really want to come back to me. And he's very curious as well, so he will walk off and be like, whatever. So changing the camera view to him sniffing things on the ground. It's not that he's stubborn. He's a very curious horse, and he will let you know that when he is done with doing whatever. So I tried my best to, instead of getting him to I just wanted him to come straight to me, but I wanted him to come to me saying bet and come, rather than me catching his eye and drawing him in, but he didn't really respond. So that's why I walked over and squatted down, because I knew he'd come to me. But again, when he got to me, it rewarded him with brushing him and scratching him in his nice little places. So with him, he has really come along really nicely. He's super smart, super calm. He's very level-headed and just chill, and I absolutely love it as he mows me over with his butt. I feel like I couldn't have asked for a better foal to buy, but it really does make it hard when I don't have videos of a horse acting up to explain to y'all how to figure things out. So and I kind of just stay in the spots. Like he's really good about telling me where he wants me to scratch him or where he wants brushed or things like that. And if you're paying attention, most horses will. So with babies, I've learned that scratches is better than food. And then with adult horses, sometimes food is better than scratches, but it depends on the horse. So changing my camera angle back. And like I said, he's super curious. He likes the camera just like Jake. And so now we'll get into the haltering and kind of go over all of that. So he went back over there. So I just kind of follow him up there, and instead of walking all the way up to him, I kind of just walk at an angle, and I would rather him really just come to me when I call him, but like I said, he's not there yet. We're still working on it. So I walk up to him after I get there, and so I'm trying to get him to follow me away from the stall, like getting him to follow me around before I attempt to halter him. And so he's still like wanting that food in there. But when he realizes there's no food, then he's more than happy to come to me, which is good. Not complaining. So since he got to me, I did spend time scratching him, loving on him, letting him know that that was great. That's what I wanted. And then I try to bring him a little bit closer. And more scratches. I don't like to have him follow me for a super long distance before I reward him again, because he is so young, and I want him to realize that him following me is what I am wanting. So I like to do a couple steps, reward, try again a couple steps and reward, versus trying to walk all the way across the arena before rewarding him for following me across, because 9 times out of 10, if I try to walk him across the arena without rewarding him, he's going to walk away, just kind of like he was doing right there. So every feedback he gives me and he walks away and says, okay, whatever, then I use that feedback as to what I want to do next. Do I need to reward more often? Do I need to reward in a different spot, like scratch his butt, scratch his neck, his ear, whatever he's wanting? So I try to use that feedback to improve what exactly I'm doing as far as how to get him to stick with me and not walk away like that. So when I'm going to halter him, I always stick the rope around his neck first, and he's still pretty iffy about it, which we're getting there. once I get it around there, I do like, sorry about the dog. Ignore the three-legged dog. Once I get it on there, I kind of move it around and stuff. And I've been starting to do a little more desensitizing and getting him to kind of move off the pressure. And he does really well. It's just, I need to do more of the desensitizing, like throwing it around his neck, throwing it over his back, things like that. And so most horses, how I start that is like, I'll put an arm around and I'll scratch their neck, but literally what I want him to do is that by trying, I like want him to put his nose inside the halter, and he's trying to look at it is what he's doing. Like, he's not physically actually trying to put his nose in his halter like Jake does. He's just trying to look at it and sniff it. And I could have been nice and let him do it a little bit more, but we've literally done that for a week straight. So I put it on there, I wiggle it around on his face, I pet him, I love on him, and I move it, and I kiss his nose, and all that good stuff. And kind of desensitizing to all the stuff around his face. And he's gotten a lot better with that. Super excited about that. So like I said, when haltering, before I put the rope around their neck, I like them to like, for me to be able to hug them pretty tight before I start introducing a rope around their neck. So then when I put an arm over, I can easily just put a rope over as well. So once I get to that part, then I start to introduce the halter, making the noise, desensitizing to the noise, things like that. And then I start to introduce lifting it to the face, and then to the nose, and then over the nose and over the ears, things like that. And so with Benton leading, he leads really well already, but I am really trying to perfect him walking with me without me pulling on the rope. So this whole time you can see that the lead rope is got so much slack in it, because I'm really trying to get him to walk with me, and to the words Benton come. So I am really focusing on doing a whole lot of vocal cues with him. And so I don't like pulling on the rope, and he's staring at something, so I'm not going to like bring his attention to me. I'm going to let him see what it is. And then I say, Benton, come. And so the reason I say Benton is so it gets his attention. So Benton is like saying, hey, let's do this. And it's like, Benton, come. So then Benton gets his attention, and then he comes with me. So he catches that second word. And everything's just about taking time, being chill about it, staying calm, and just consistency. Consistency, consistency. And then I take it off, and we're all done. And when I take it off, I don't let him go. I don't let him walk off. I like to love on him more, rub on his face, rub on his neck, on his ears, and all that good stuff before I let him to walk off. And then I'd say that it's a good day, and we had a pretty productive day. So I hope y'all liked this video. We definitely have more coming, so I hope y'all stay tuned to Benton's Life to Fame.